Hey, yo, welcome to Woo Nation Uncensored. I'm Mark Madden. I'm joined as always by the star of the show, the 16-time world champion, the Nature Boy, Ric Flair. And Nate, we got some bad news to talk about today, and that's the passing of Scott Hall at age 63. Complications after hip surgery, a blood clot, 3 heart attacks, just devastating news to those who knew him, like both of us did.
Yeah, it was horrible. We're way too young. Having been really sick, I know, I thought when they said they were taking him off life support that had implied he was getting better. So, terrible loss. Was looking forward to seeing him and Kevin at WrestleCon. So, stuff like that scares me. I really feel bad for Kevin Nash. Kevin Nash adored me. I don't know Scott's family that well. I met his brother one time, but I know Kevin. Thought, they were like real brothers, close to people to me.
No question, they were a match set by any definition. Sean Waltman figures in there too, and certainly the Wrestling World Morning Scott. A bunch of tributes last night on WWE Raw. We're taping this on a Tuesday this week, and Scott Hall will be missed by those who knew him. Let's take a look back at Scott's career, Rick, if we could. How do you rate him as a worker among big men? He's a legit 6'7", but he could really move, couldn't he?
Yes. Yeah, he's pretty good. It all depended on what mood he was in. But when he wanted to go, he could perform at a very high level.
Well, I know you and he had a few matches, and I remember one time on Nitro, we were talking beforehand, and he said to me, visibly very excited, me and the Nate, national TV, what could be better?
Yeah.
What do you remember? About? Go ahead.
No, I enjoyed working with him. I didn't get a chance to nearly enough, but that's a whole other issue. But yeah, I loved working with him. He was a really good performer.
Now, was the NWO invasion the biggest angle in wrestling history, H? It's the only time WWE got knocked off its perch as the number one promotion. However, temporarily, I forget what the ratings advantage was for Nitro. I think it was 83 weeks, like Eric's podcast. But was that the biggest angle ever, and what made it so good?
I guess you'd have to look at money drawn and merchandise, and I don't know how you compare the biggest angle ever. I gotta be honest with you. I think the biggest angle ever was DX, which was to fight back against NWO, because with the DX, it just, you throw Shawn Michaels in the mix, and Hunter, and Road Dogg, and Billy Gunn, and China. They were pretty big time too, but certainly the NWO, had a huge role in the success of WCW.
Well, DX, I agree, started the turnaround, I think.
Yeah.
For WWE to come back and take the top spot away from WCW. But I think the NWO invasion angle, I mean, I got to give credit to Vince versus Austin. That was incredible as well. That was
unbelievable.
Great angle,
the best.
Great feud.
The best.
Yeah, certainly right there. But I think what made the NWO work, Nate, was people really thought it was an invading army from WWE. They wanted to believe that it was an interpromotional thing. And I know WWE filed lawsuits to prove that wasn't the case. And Scott and Kevin had to do a disclaimer on TV the night they powerbombed Eric through the stage. But people really did believe that for a bit, didn't they?
I don't know if they thought that. I just think it was, it's something that had been done in Japan. That's where the idea was founded. I think between All Japan and New Japan, but it certainly, with two big main event stars like Scott and Kevin coming across, it was a big deal.
Yeah, certainly the New Japan angle, which I think was new leaders versus now leaders. That's what Eric Bischoff always cited. But yeah, I think people wanted to believe it. I think the NWO invasion might be one of the last times that people suspended disbelief. Now, what was the attitude backstage in WCW, Rick, when the NWO took off? Because These were guys coming in like they were literally called the outsiders, and they got pushed straight to the top and became the focal point of the promotion. What was the talk backstage then?
I don't remember. I'm sure myself included, we were not, to be pushed back on the back burner. Um, I think that affected all of us, but it was kind of like at the end of my career anyway. I had been kind of, put on the back burner before they got there. So it didn't affect me as much as some of the other guys. And I think that, the only weakness that NWO had was they added too many people to it.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. I think the brand split was a bad idea. First, they
Yeah,
added too many
absolutely.
people, and then when they went to black and white versus red, I thought it just petered out from there.
Yeah. To me, if they had just kept the same original group, the 4 or 5 guys, God only knows how long they would have gone with it. And, eventually bringing the whole I just thought it eluded it terribly.
Well, right, it wasn't the 11 horsemen; it was the 4 horsemen, correct?
Yes.
Now, if Hogan doesn't join the NWO, does it work? Was that the biggest part of it? Because that was some major heel heat when that happened.
Well, obviously, it was a big part of it. I don't know whether it, I'm trying to think. I thought they had a lot of momentum before Hulk did it.
Yeah, I
Uh,
think so too.
yeah, I'm not sure that Hulk made him or broke him up, but, or made him that way. Obviously, anything Hulk would do was big time. I didn't almost understand me, but I don't. They were rolling along pretty good without him, so I don't know. The other side of the coin of that is if Hulk had stayed good and been fighting against him, that would have been a hell of a too, and built some people around him. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense for sure, and I think that's eventually what should have happened. I think Hulk should have turned good back out of it and
Hmm.
fought against the NWO, and then you go to some kind of conclusion. There needed
Yeah.
to be a conclusion. There never was.
No. To me, that never was either. And then, of course, that just the mindset of the company and people having problems, and there was a lot of individual politics. I think that brought everything down.
You mentioned the merchandising before. I don't know if there's ever been a seller like the NWO shirt. It still sells. You still see it. Maybe some of Austin stuff, but boy, that was a heck of a marketing deal with that T-shirt.
Oh, no doubt about it. Are you kidding me? I mean, I don't think it was 316 by any means, but it sold a lot of merchandise.
Yeah, 316 had more varieties, but boy, that one basic NWO shirt with that Stark logo was just tremendous. And I thought the NWO commercials, remember the paid announcements they would do to get them over as a separate entity? I thought those were very good as well. Who did the voice? He was at your birthday party. That voice, Neil.
Oh, Neil Pruitt.
Yeah, he did the voice.
Yeah.
The,
Yes.
fo-
Yeah.
the following announcement.
Yeah.
That was great, wasn't it?
Yeah. Neil was great. I mean, God, what a great guy. There's a name out of the past.
Yeah, just a terrific guy. And like his voice added a lot of gravitas to that whole thing. Now, looking at Scott, was Scott's peak as a performer Razor Ramon in WWE? That was certainly his breakthrough, wasn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What made
Yep.
that work? It was obviously a knockoff of Al Pacino and Scarface, but a very effective one. And I
Yeah.
remember,
He did it great. I don't know even. I don't even know who came up with the idea, but I was with Kurt Hennig. We picked him up the day he started in the WWE. We picked him up at the airport, and I don't even know if he had he had if the creative had even talked to him about that, but it certainly did take off. And
well,
the vignettes and the interviews were great. He spoke like that. I mean, he pulled it off big time.
yeah, and I know that he talked like that all the time when he prepared to do it. Like even outside the ring, he did the mang and the hey
Yeah,
yo and all that stuff. He really lived the gimmick. And I got to go back a little bit too, Rick, because before he went to WWE, he played a character in WCW called the Diamond Stud that had a
yeah,
lot of the same mannerisms. That
yeah,
was managed by DDP.
yeah. But that character wasn't nearly as effective as Razor Ramon.
Oh no, once you get the machine behind it.
And plus the fact Scott wasn't nearly as experienced a performer as a diamond stud. So you got up there, around Kurt, me, and some other guys, and I mean, and you're put in a situation that's very competitive. You're forced to get better, and he get
Yeah, no question, by leaps and bounds. And he
DiBiase,
always,
DiBiase was there, Brett was there, Shaw was there. I mean, there's a lot of competition then.
well, not only the competition, Rick, but talk about that. Talk about the trickle down from just being around veteran guys like you were back when with Ray Stevens. How you just kind of learn stuff by being there, don't you?
Just look through the curtain every night. The more you watch, the more you pick up, the more you have in the mindset to choose from when you need it. You never stop learning.
Now,
And
uh,
people who think they have don't need to know anything are just they're fundamentally making a mistake that that doesn't need to be made.
no question. You look at a lot of the rising stars today. You look at MJF and AEW, how he's not copying Piper, but he's clearly taken him as such an influence, even having never worked with him. Like and like I said last night on Raw, a lot of people referencing Scott. That shows how much it gets passed down from generation to generation.
Exactly.
Uh, it's funny because when Scott came into WCW, I know this better than most because I got deposed for literally 8 or 9 hours about it. WWE sued WCW for copyright infringement on the Razor Ramon character. And for that matter, the Diesel character with Kevin Nash. They said they were doing the same characters. But if that's the case, why couldn't Al Pacino sue WWE for Razor doing Scarface? I mean, I'm not sure how many original ideas are left, is my point, Rick. Everything comes from somewhere, doesn't it?
Everything except the Nature Boy.
Well, that's right. You're the last of the originals. I would never say otherwise.
No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, no, it's yeah, everything today is, which I think is great. I mean, everybody that's well today and has done well. Most of them will acknowledge the people that attribute a lot of their success to it. I think that's great that the young guys will acknowledge people that they watch and enjoyed and grew up on.
Now, how much time did you spend with Scott outside the ring? I spent a lot. And, even though he had his demons, which are well documented, I thought he was just a great guy. He did favors for people. I got fired once by WCW. Him and Kev got me hired back after a brief hiatus. I mean, like I said, the guy had demons, but I thought he had a heart of gold.
I didn't hang around that much outside. I did at WWE, but he kind of did his own thing. I mean, I'm laughing now because I'm thinking about he and Mongo were a tough duo, man.
Yeah, they sure were.
Yeah, I was going to see Mongo this weekend, but weather in Chicago was bad. I had to skip that trip. So, but when I think of Scott Hall and I think about Mongo, I think about they ran about as hard as me and a couple other guys I could name did. We're different paths sometimes, but we ran hard.
When I think about
Scott could stay all night, stay a little longer.
when I think about Scott Hall and Mongo McMichael, I think about running in the other direction. That was some dangerous turf, but
Wow.
both great guys.
He used to tell Scott all along ago, when I got more money than I got time, kid. Let's go. They'd leave after Nitro. We'd see him in Thunder 3 days later.
Rick, I'm sure you have a vague idea. Scott revered you. I mean, he thought you were just the greatest. I mean, he just, like I said, I've never seen him thrilled like a little kid the night he was scheduled to work you at WCW. That's how he felt about you.
I can tell when there was a date in Ohio. That's how many times I can remember the night I was there. We had 20 minutes. I said, "Your kid, you're wrestling." What happened? And the kid fit in. It was great. I mean, they were fun to work with. I liked working with a kid too. Waltman could work. It's just, I said at that point in time that I just been kind of put on the back burner, so it didn't mean a lot. But it was anytime I had a chance to get in the ring and perform with those guys. When I'm 10 years older than Scott, so that 10 years is a big difference in the business.
Stay with that. How do you mean?
Well, okay. So let's say when I was there, when I went, when I got to WWE, I was already 40 years old. Okay, if you think about it, back then I was considered old. And then I ended up having my last match at 59. And here's Steve coming out of retirement. Probably not for a match, but he'll do something physical with Kevin Owens. I'm really looking forward to that. But Steve's 57. Because they want to write you off when you turn 40. They don't want to write you off for sure when you turn 50.
Yeah, but they kept coming back, didn't they?
They did. They did. And, I'm lucky enough to stay healthy. I've had some health scares big time, but I feel fortunate. I'm still healthy and, I feel great, as you know, unfortunately.
Well, Scott Hall, RIP. It's kind of cathartic for us to talk about him, I think, and he will definitely be missed. Now,